Right, here we go. Hello, internet people. Welcome to our City of Red Waters playtest. This is our episode 1. We have our full contingent. My name is Ash. I'm the GM, your host for the evening, and the designer of this particular supplement. I use she/her pronouns. And I'll get the others to introduce themselves. Erin, do you want to let us know who you are?
Sure. Hi, my name's Erin. I also use she, her pronouns. The character I am playing is Isadora Bellum Martin, also she, her pronouns. She is Cutter. Last episode, I killed someone with a door that I accidentally ripped off of a train car. So that's kind of how things are going for me. I meant to rip the lock off the door, not the door of the train.
Oh, right, you double succeeded. That's right.
Yeah, it was definitely a success. Just a little more complicated. Oki, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Oki, aka Go Kid on Twitch. I do board games, crossword puzzles, and some gaming. This is my first role-playing game ever. I'm playing Flint, the Hound, who has a hound, and super excited to be here again.
Cool. And Dakota, new face for this 2-episode stream. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Sorry about not being here last time. I caught up on the board and it was very exciting to see that you have rescued me. That's a nice feeling. Makes me feel important and special. I use mask pronouns, and I don't really know what I do with my life at this point in time, but
it's a bit like that with the COVID, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's true of most of us, really.
A little bit fucked, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, we'll introduce your character in a minute. I think the first thing we need to do though is so what I did, I intentionally didn't do the after mission stuff at the end of last episode because I wanted to use it as a way of like refreshing us on what happened. So when we put together our crew, we made some friends, we made some enemies. So we're playing the River of Blood, which means that there's a bunch of stuff that is a little bit rough to deal with. It's definitely the most challenging Blades crew book that I think exists at the moment. I think that Sean was thinking about making some adjustment for his vigilantes crew sheet to be similar in the same way of like having penalties that if you are want to play kind of watchmen, you can. It has a similar structure of having penalties that need to be overcome. We've got a secret lair hidden out in the Compass Ranges, which when we say secret lair we mean we found an old shack that no one was living in and we decided that it was ours and we put some beds in it, and also has a shed with a workshop in it, so that's helpful. In the process of all that, we may have made some friends, and by that I mean one friend, 2 friends. We're friends with the people of High Water and the Brackish mob, so that's good. They like us. We're in good with the rich snobs and also the fledgling mob, the fledgling mafia.
Very strange bedfellows.
Yeah, extremely fledgling mafia. Everyone's always like, "Oh, the mafia," and I'm like, "These guys suck." They haven't had time to build up yet. And then we've managed to piss off the Captains of Infamy, which is an amalgamation of collection of bushrangers and similar sorts of criminals, bushrangers, highwaymen, those sorts of things. We've pissed off the Agricultural Union, which because it's the place, all of the really rich farmers are members of that. Then they're actually extremely serious business, and we've got -2 status, which means they're going to go out of their way to fuck with us. And we've also made enemies of the Unbroken Bond, which is another rebellious group that are trying to make life better for all of the former slaves, but also they didn't agree with us that sometimes using people that have done things wrong is helpful, and we maybe didn't we made friends with someone who they think needed to be taken down, disciplined. Yeah, she maybe snitched on them and probably got some people killed, and we were like, "Nah, it's cool. Don't worry about it. She's with us." So that was fun. And then we got some information from the Brackish mob that there was going to be this really useful person on this train who was being shipped out of Stillwater Prison to somewhere, and we don't know where the train was going, which is extremely suspicious. It was a train to leave in Varouge, so I'm excited to hear if Dakota has any idea, or if no one knows what was going to be happening to this person, but that there was an asset on this train that might be of value to the fledgling River of Blood. What do we have a crew name? We have a crew name, don't we?
The Rising Tide.
The Rising Tide. This is such a classic. I'm sure that's been... Isn't that the hacker crew in... That's the hacker crew in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, really?
that they recruit the main character from. So classic choice. So the Rising Tide might have use of this particular particular asset. So with that in mind, we the crew broke into what? What do you mean this document has no bookmarks? With that in mind, the crew have stopped the train with a fallen log, and quickly and quietly
dealt with the problems inside the train.
Yeah, I mean, one of them lived. I was very impressed with that.
Yeah. I might have words with Bellum, but just like, did you have to crush a man? But
yeah, that was certainly dealt with the problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was that moment where I think what we'll do is as we're I'm going to go through the downtime things, but I think what we see first is we see our hideout. Does anyone want to give us a poetic description of the hideout?
Aaron?
Dubbed in. Does anyone have a clear vision of what your hideout looks like?
Yeah, I feel like you were saying, this is on the outside. It's kind of a rinky-dink little shack, kind of tucked away in the foothills and cliffs and crap that makes it kind of an inhospitable area. And since we've moved in, we've made it a point to try and put some work into making it more livable and things like that. and I think
You got a carpet from somewhere. Like,
so. I think we don't actually use the cabin part of the cabin at all. Like I think maybe we have like the cabin is basically the the top of a weird little tunnel. So we have like found a cave that's under our cabin, and that's where we have our workshop. That's where we have our quarters, and that's why we're able to keep things hidden because like anybody coming in is going to see this little shithole and not pay it any mind.
Yeah,
Right.
like an old smuggler den sort of situation where
Right.
they've carved out a little bit of space underneath. Everything
Yeah,
up top is junk and just debris.
hmm
Kind of
exactly.
navigate through to find
Yeah, and
The
I think it's
secret.
probably set up so where we've got like ways of knowing if someone is in the cabin.
hmm
So like if we're getting ready to leave, it's like oh this bell is ringing. Somebody has breached the perimeter or something like that. Um, yeah, so that's what I was thinking of. Is we're more like underneath the cabin.
Yeah. Cool. Um. All right. Thanks. Me. So yeah, like we're in the cavern underneath. Do we have like some like shafts of like natural light coming down through the like the misty air in the cavern? It's got to be like bastardly cold because like the mountains are the mountain the ranges are like the cold part of this setting, right? Like most of it's fairly warm, but like these hills are what like braces the like protects the city from the like cold sea winds, like that and the natural shape of the continent or whatever. But so like all of the cold gets stuck in the compass ranges before and like never actually gets down to the thing. So if we're underground, like surrounded by like stone, it's got to be like
Colder.
yeah. Um, and so like I'm imagining like a bunch of like stolen like Persian rug type things trying to like pad out the place to make it a bit more hospitable. And yeah, uh, you probably have the tools because you have a workshop here to be able to get this zip tied sack off this person's head. Who's doing that?
Bellum, take the tools. You're the strong one. I'm sure you can cut the lock or
Um,
rip it off.
you were on a different side of the train, maybe, but uh, removing locks and stuff gently is not in my skill set. Also, I think my cat might be trying to pee on something. Give me just a second.
Looks like
Sure. I have. I'd love to tinker then with
yeah.
the.
For downtime, I'm not going to make you roll for it.
Okay. Cool.
Just what do you like? How are you approaching the problem?
Is there a lock?
No, it's a Hessian sack and then a zip tie. And so
Okay.
the problem that you had was whenever you were trying to pull on the sack, it was just tightening the zip tie. So if you've got like
From the
a good knife or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say from the workshop table, I grab like a pair of clippers and slide it under the zip tie and snap it right off,
Cool.
and then yank the cloth off.
Cool. Who do we meet, Dakota?
So yeah, underneath the sack is Lyndon Harvey, also known as Cole. Um, he's a member of the River Peoples, probably from a different original region to that of Flint. Um, he's still dressed in that really plain, unassuming outfit that they threw him in. Um, but yeah, he seems a little bit less distressed now, I suppose, than he would have before, with a sack over his head and the zip tie just slightly constricting movement. Um, but yeah, he looks probably the same sort of age as Flint, that sort of late 20s, early 30s sort of region, and just kind of doesn't immediately strike you as someone who would be the sort to be arrested for whatever reason. Like kind of a gentle looking person. I have an incredibly Jake Gyllenhaal looking photo or illustration that I have located, and it's kind of the right vibe.
Yeah. Excellent.
They are.
Given that you're both from like the same community, roughly, do you want to tell? We can kind of go two ways. Either you can tell the other person what they've heard about you, or you can tell the other person what you've heard about them. What do you like? Which do you prefer?
Ooh,
Gosh.
One
I'm
is more
still learning
traditional.
about
Okay,
Cole.
let's go the more traditional route. So you probably recognize Flint's face. You've probably seen him around. Might not have interacted much, but you probably like heard some things.
yeah, what was your? So you were a labourer. What kind of work were you involved in?
Factory working, dealing with machinery, carriage building, things like that.
So okay, what would Cole have heard about Flint? What rumor? Was it, like when people go Flint? Oh yeah, the guy that right.
Right. I think he might have heard that there were rumblings that I was devoted to the river people's cause, but because of some insurgents and people like taking people out from my family and friends, I was trying to take some things back into my own hands.
Yeah, right. And like now that you've had a moment to like take in Cole's appearance, Cole, what has Flint probably heard about you?
I think the contrast is probably the most interesting part. If Flint is sort of known to be the one who's starting to radicalize, perhaps the alternative is true of Cole. People have assumed that he's more of a collaborator.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess nonplussed or non-interested in promoting the cause. Not true, of course, but that's probably the reputation that he's cultivated over time.
There's definitely a thing among the river peoples as a group that there's the elders that of the various different communities that have come together into the single community are kind of halfway between inaction because they're still catching up on just how bad shit is, and also like, well, it's like yeah, but we don't. We're not gonna like it wouldn't be the right thing to do to like blow shit up because that's just gonna make things worse, right? There's definitely a thing of like, well, how do we resolve this situation that's going to be better for everyone? And that's and so like the younger people like Flint are a bit like, can we do something? Whereas yeah, you're probably following a more traditional line, or have at least been following a more traditional line
Yeah,
among the community.
yeah. I think in a lot of ways, trying to occupy that space as like a sort of one foot in both worlds kind of situation where you're trying to do things the right way, but also finding it difficult and wanting to find alternatives as well.
Yeah. Yep. Do you want to talk us through some of the choices that you made for character creation?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, went with River Peoples for heritage. Background, I went trade. I think that Cole has done some work as a shipping assistant. It's a lot of grunt work, but having access to the books and some key contacts allows for a little bit of misdirection and sort of redirecting resources to a minor extent. So yeah, that's kind of, I think, where Perhaps perhaps he was caught doing some slightly dodgy dealings, which led to his incarceration. Um, yeah, what else would you like me to talk through?
What did you choose for your dots and your special
So,
ability?
for the heritage, I chose a tune dot. I thought that that kind of made sense,
Mm-hmm.
bring the sort of traditional values through to a certain extent. Sway for my background dot, sweet talking people, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I put both of my two anyway into survey. I think that um, observing situations and having a feeling about stuff kind of made the most sense. And then I chose hunt for the crew bonus one that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Because that, yeah, kind of, again, the sort of finding out information about things in advance feels like a good way to avoid getting imprisoned. Didn't work
Yeah.
out this time, but it's a good place to start. And I took foresight as my special ability, which allows me to assist teammates twice without paying for stress.
Whoa.
I really I feel like Cole's kind of approach is about enabling others to sort of be more effective. And so really kind of taking the time to think about who he's working with, who he's working against, and finding ways to kind of connect the dots.
Yeah.
Um,
What was your
and
class?
Spider.
I'm the spider.
Spider.
So the spider also comes with, I think, 2 points in
2
consort.
points in consort and 1 in study.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Cool.
no points in anything in prowess.
Yeah, no.
We've got skirmish pretty good with Bellum here.
Yeah, I thought between the two of you, you can beat stuff up pretty well.
Probably got it pretty good. Cool. All right. So, as far as end of the last mission, you get we get some payoff, right? You did a mission. Things happen as a result of that. So the first thing that we get is rep and coin. So the crew gets 2 rep by default, just for having done crimes. If the target of the score is a higher tier than you, sorry. If the target is a higher tier than you, then you get an extra rep per tier higher. So this was against the Inver Foot Police, who I think are tier 2, and you are
tier 0.
and you're tier 0, so you get an additional 2 rep on top of your base 2 rep.
Heck yeah.
So that's
Nice.
that's 4 rep. Except, did you keep it completely quiet?
Oh, well, no, see, the editor-in-chief is still alive, so we get 1 rep per score.
Of course. Thank you for keeping track of that. Yeah. So you get 1 rep because when people go and talk about it, they then
Yeah.
read a column, and it wasn't that big a deal. They stole a drug addict off the side of a train. That's what actually happened. And it wasn't really. They did the city. It was for, did the city a favor.
During a routine stop, a
That door was
fell
off because of
due to
maintenance.
maintenance issues,
Yeah.
and a dog escaped.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Do we have a limit on how much coin we get?
Yeah, we do.
All right. So the crew earns coin based on the nature of the operation and or any loot they seized. A minor job would be 2 coin. I don't think that you would have been getting much more than 2 coin out of it anyway. It's whatever you snatched from the cabin alongside Cole. At the end of the now we were trying to keep the we didn't care about the whether or not the captains of infamy cared about us, did we? We
No,
didn't
I
pay
believe
coin to...
No, we
No.
I
said
believe
fuck
our
him.
general stance was fuck them.
Yeah.
No wait, no, they're -1.
Which is fuck 'em for that particular choice.
Hmm.
Because you
Yeah,
can
okay.
pay a coin to have them be friendly.
That's right. Yep, fuck them.
Um. Uh. Do you want now? You've just committed. You've just in their turf committed one of their favorite crimes, which is train robbery.
Mhm.
That's their job.
Mhm.
So.
I mean, technically, it was more of a liberation than a robbery.
Yeah, because if it's a robbery, you have to steal property, and people are not that. That's
you
one
still
of our big things.
like now they're not going to be able to hit another train for several weeks according to their schedule, so all those sorts of things. So I think like while like a little while after like while we're recovering, I think you do hear you do hear like a whistle from up top, like someone outside the outside the house up top, and like that of like someone trying to get attention from someone inside the house.
We're hidden. Don't.
You don't think I should go talk to them and see who it is?
That kind of ruins the whole hidden part.
Maybe
Right
I
now,
can.
they think they know where we are. If you walk outside, they know where we are.
How about I put a bead on him and you go talk to him?
How about I put a door on him and put him in the ground?
So after a couple of minutes, you hear them say, "Yeah, it's not this one. We'll go check the next one." And you hear like a couple of horses, like start to canter off.
Yeah, do we have a vague idea of where they're based? Perhaps us going to them might be a little bit more an ideal approach.
Yeah, no, you definitely know where their base is. Um, so you can definitely do that when you want to. Do you want to go and pay your tithe to these?
I mean, I'm not opposed to. I think that I'd like my rescue to not be a stain
on
on
us.
our reputation with them.
Yeah. So we're going to pay a coin to have them not get grumpy.
I'll defer to the others because
Just
as the one being
too,
liberated,
right?
I think I've benefited enough, perhaps.
I feel like this is something where we shouldn't send somebody alone, seeing
Oh,
as
no,
they're
not
not
at all.
fans of us right now.
Hmm.
So I'm on board with going there and talking things out, and maybe giving them some money.
Hmm.
But if things go bad, I'm also on board with drinking this angry juice and making the problem go away.
So let's mark a coin for now.
Yeah, close the door on them. Hey.
and so let's give one of those
I
two
took one
coin
off.
to. Yep.
Hmm.
Cool.
Are you happy to take control of the crew character sheet, Erin?
Yeah, that's
She's
no problem.
real good at it.
As someone who is infinitely more familiar with it than we are.
Yeah, I've got notes and all sorts of things.
Thank you.
I'm used to the GM side of things, so like I'm trying to be better at taking notes in general. So yeah, no problem.
It's very helpful. You also get heat. Do we think that this was smooth and quiet, contained, loud and chaotic, or wild?
I feel like probably contain.
Yeah, I don't think it was smooth and quiet the moment guns got fired.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
and like structural
went
damage
off.
was done to a train loudly. Like,
Yeah. So that's two. Dakota's not a high-profile or well-connected target. Cole isn't.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well connected maybe, but not enough to earn an extra heat. It didn't happen on hostile turf. You're not at war, and someone did die. So that brings it up to 4, and I think you get a bonus 1 just because.
Yeah.
the chief magistrate.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a lot of heat.
That's
okay.
5 heat for one mission. That's woohoo! The moment that man died, it became very intense.
Wow.
So the campaign of this I'm running for the podcast. The last thing they did basically ended with one of the party members spiking a bottle of booze with rage essence and another party member unknowingly drinking it and basically running through, a fancy ballroom and cutting everything in sight. And they also they firebombed the building. Like it was bad. Like they got
That's
like 9
definitely
feet by the time they
chaotic.
finished the mission.
God.
I was like, hey, y'all jumped up an entire wanted level. Congratulations.
Yeah. In one mission. Wow.
Yeah.
Where's the end? Where's the thing that tells me the all the things we need to hit for end of mission?
Oh.
We need to do entanglements. Is there anything else we need to do for an end of mission? Pay off heat entanglements?
Entanglements and downtime.
And then downtime. Yeah, then we go into the downtime phase. Alright,
Mhm.
so you are heat 4-5? Yes.
6.
You're heat 6.
Totally.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's have a look here at some of the possible. Wow. Yeah. Cool. Let's. Does someone want to roll me a d6? To see what happens. Is it how many d6s is it?
Our wanted level is 0, so it's basically like rolling 0 dice.
Okay, so roll 2d6 and take the lowest. There should be a
Yo.
button on your character sheet labeled Fortune Roll.
Yep.
So that'll use that to roll Fortune.
Not it.
Got it? Cool.
No, I said not it.
Oh, not it.
Oh.
Okay, someone else has to roll Fortune.
Roger
It's
that. Number of dice.
0.
Is that 0, yeah, okay. Notes. Nope, that's fine.
0 dice. Take the lowest. So that's a 2. Alright. Man, even the lowest is not great on this.
Entanglements ain't great. It's much better than the 4 would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Demonic notice or show of force.
Oh goodness.
I like that somehow arrest is supposed to be worse than you pissed off the demons.
Yeah, that's very true.
Given that we have 2 people with attune, like, meh. Let's see. I think it makes sense. Oh man, rough. Definitely gonna do that. Dang. I think our friend. Where's the crew sheet gone? I think Mathilde gets cold feet. From. Oh no, but she's the source of your ongoing problem with the
Unbroken bond.
unbroken bond. I don't want to make that go away. Let's have a look. Who else have we got that we can fuck with?
Are you looking at our friends?
Oh, straight off the bat, Cole. Salia has heard about what happened. Has heard that the people died. Has heard that you're now a part of a criminal enterprise that are rescuing dogs from trains and killing people with doors. So yeah, I don't know that you know it yet, but in the background, um, yeah, she's no longer an up. She's no longer a friendly contact.
That is unfortunate, but understandable.
Um, to give you some background on like your relationship with Salia.
Um, so probably someone who noticed the sort of unusual behavior or unusual trading that was occurring, and sort of figured out that rather than dob Cole in and sort of get him removed, she could leverage that into a more productive working relationship. Anything that comes my way can be passed on for an equal trade.
Yeah, it's definitely she's definitely like, oh yeah, we can make a bit of money doing a bit of like what we would
Mm.
call like white collar crime, right?
Yeah,
And but like you've got a mark on you now.
yeah.
You've got an association with the criminal element. So yeah, she's not. It's gonna take some work if you want to get her back on side.
Mm.
Um,
That's fair. That's fair.
all right, cool. Well, that's so we've got the opportunity to do some downtime if anyone wants to. You've got 2 downtime actions. I'll give Cole. I'll give you one because you didn't
Hmm.
do you were in the mission, but you probably
were the mission.
let's assume that your first one is recovering, right?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Of 2, so like you've got one other than recovering from like some nasty trauma there. Like it's not like they didn't beat the shit out of you before they put you on that train.
Oh yeah.
Because
All right.
Stillwater Prison is not run by the Blue Coats. It's run by its own own
Mm.
guards. Um,
I still have a shot in the arm too, I believe.
yeah,
Or
yeah, you do.
grazed my arm.
Yeah, you did a cool dodge and only took it to the arm.
Yeah.
So that's probably for the best. But you might want to deal with it.
Um, okay. What kind of activities would be most beneficial to us here?
Um, reduce. Fuck.
So the
Reducing
options
heat
the
would
options
probably be good.
available are acquire asset, long-term project, recover, reduce heat, train, or indulge vice.
So you have no stress, so
Hmm.
indulging the vice is unnecessary.
What vice did you take, Cole?
I took gambling. I think that one of the ways in which Cole gains an advantage in trading is by, attending some backroom.
And that's how the fucking brackish mob knew that you were an asset.
So yes.
Yeah. Okay, so they're the ones that are your vice purveyor.
Right. Easy.
That flows really well. I like that.
Yeah. You definitely don't count cards around them, right?
Oh, around the mob, you don't, unless they're tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Right, you're good to go in this one." You don't,
Yep.
even if they're bad,
Yeah.
you still have the same number of kneecaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who had stress they needed to clear and wanted to do some indulging?
I definitely have stress.
You had some.
Full
What's your vice?
obligation.
All right, cool. Is that to like what does that look like for you?
I kept thinking. I think the obligation is like to family. It can be
Mhm.
family, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I imagine it's like my younger siblings and just my grandmother, the only people left in my family. So going back to them and making sure they're okay. And my grandmother can only do so much with my two younger siblings, so
Yeah.
making sure they're fed and taken care of and put at ease as well, and no one's bothering them.
Yeah.
How much do they know about what you do?
Nothing
Mm.
for now.
When you get back here, your grandmother's like, "How is the factory?"
Works fine as usual. Just a long day. Another long day as always.
At least you've washed your hands today.
Today, yes. If only she knew
Yeah.
of what I've washed my hands of.
Yep. So when you roll your vice, you've actually got a button on your sheet there, which is indulge vice, which automates the whole process.
Okay.
If you want to hit that, so it's going to use your weakest resistance. Is what it's going to do.
What one? Okay.
So
No bonus dice.
no bonus dice.
Okay.
And what do we get? We got
3.
You got 3, so clear 3 stress.
Sweet.
So you're down to 1.
Good job. And you didn't
Yay.
indulge, because overindulging is a different thing in this setting.
Yeah.
Oh.
When you overindulge in this one, you start the journey towards becoming a vampire.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah, you just you need more and more you need more to make you feel alive, right? So you're like, for the moment, you feel plenty alive by helping out grandma with the kids and things like that. The kid runs past and you're like, what have you got? A knife! Great!
No!
And that sort of thing, right? Like, it definitely makes you feel alive just dealing with children, so...
For now.
So that's the first of your 2 downtime actions for this downtime.
Cool.
Anyone else know what they want to do?
Yeah, I will use my second one to maybe try and talk to some folks that I know and try and convince them or explain to them sort of the reality of the situation, try and undermine what heat we gained from the papers, talking things up and down at the same time.
Yep. Gonna reduce some heat?
Yes, I think that's
Cool.
the way I'd like to contribute to this early part of our affiliation.
Yeah, cool, awesome. So, are you consorting? Are you swaying? Like, who are you talking to? Like when we see like a montage. What's the one scene that who do we see you talking to in that montage?
I would probably try. I think it's probably more towards consorting, trying to talk to people that I already have a positive relationship with to get them to help pass the information on a little bit.
Yeah.
So less actively like going out in the street and I'm bloody Captain Bash von Ronsenberging, and more getting other people to just start a little bit of a whisper network.
What kind of out of the areas? What community are you are you sharing this around in? Or is there like a specific faction that you're like speaking with, or?
I think it's probably easiest for me to go through the brackish mob. I think that I have a positive reputation with them, as well as a kind of our organization already does. So
Yeah.
They'd be more inclined to listen, and as other minnows in this situation, I think that they maybe view us as an opportunity to help each other out and grow.
So most of this is like the workers down at the Docklands and things like that.
Yeah.
Are the ones that are being like, they're good blokes. Like they didn't
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't, all they did was crack out a dude who wasn't even supposed to be in prison. So it's not that big a deal. Yeah. Cool. All right. So for reducing heat, let's roll your consort.
And so I just click on consort.
You should be able to click the word.
Yep.
So the fun thing is we can only roll one die to reduce heat.
Right.
Ooh.
Awesome. So you're gonna have -1, -1 bonus dice on this.
So I've got risky, control, desperate, and fortune.
They don't matter for downtime, so it's risky. So risky is the default,
Yep, roger that.
and then
Effect.
standard is the default, and then
Bonus
-1 dice because you.
-1. Oh,
Oh dear. All
off to a
right.
great start. That's
Yep.
okay.
Then we reduced one
Luckily,
heat.
These always work. They just don't work as well.
Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
that's to be expected given our current situation, right?
Yep. Everyone's like you are like you have the stated purpose of fucking shit up. It's hard to convince people that you're not fucking shit up.
Yeah. It's like, we'll get there. We just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, everyone's
All the
like,
same.
yeah, those dickheads who want to fuck shit up and are just making life hard for everyone else.
Fine, I guess.
Yep. Cool. Aaron, do you wanna do a thing?
Yeah, I have ideas for both of mine. I'm just going to like narratively do them as one thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to train my prowess by going around town and beating the living hell out of anybody who's telling the real version of what happened and not the preferred version of what happened.
Cool. Is that reducing heat?
Yeah,
All right.
reducing heat.
Cool.
I like the two sides approach, right? Like, we'll try and convince them. When that fails, beat the shit out of them.
I very much recommend that you tell people this if they ask. If not, my associate will be by later to reinforce this recommendation.
All right. So that's a 5, which is two heat cleared.
So we're down to 3, y'all.
Nice.
And I have to train my prowess pips. Boop, boop, boop.
Boop boop. Okay, you've got one more. Do you want to do anything about that gunshot wound?
Probably. I'd like to get healed.
All right. So
I've got a friend I could introduce you to.
Yeah, I'd love to meet Bellum's friend if she doesn't mind, stitching up this graze
Yeah.
on my arm.
We call her Sawtooth because the work's not usually pretty, but it's good.
What's another scar?
yeah, it's not so much the actual bullet wound that's the problem. It's the fucking burn, like the bullet wound you've got right is a cut, and that's fine. But the burn itself is starting to get infected.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Infection's the scary part.
Where do you meet with Sawtooth? Like, where do you go to get Sawtooth to work on you?
Perhaps Sawtooth comes to our
Absolutely
place.
not.
No, too secret. Where does Sawtooth work?
Is Sawtooth
Maybe.
is Sawtooth like a teacher in the at the university?
Probably so. Like,
Just
I think.
like not technically allowed to practice medicine, but allowed to teach it.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Maybe,
maybe
yeah.
you're brought in for like the advanced students, to where
To
like
practice on.
they're sometimes some people will go to like the dental college to get cheaper tooth work done, and it's not pretty, but like both people benefit.
Right. That's cool. Or it's like those what do they call those like arenas where they're looking down
Oh,
on
yeah.
people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's,
I happen to be the subject of the day.
It's
Yeah, like a operating theater sort of thing.
Well, it
Yeah.
looks like if you're familiar with the Royal Institution Lecture Theatre, it's like really steep, amphitheater type thing, and very small and closed in, and it's all wood, so everything's stained with various different substances.
Delicious.
And I think Sawtooth is there, being like, now students, if you pay attention, the criminal element may be unsavory, but they can often pay well, Not that this is a criminal, obviously. He just looks like one for the purposes of our demonstration.
Factory accident, everybody.
Yeah.
I think Isadora is like leaned up against one of the walls, just like pinching the bridge of her nose and being like, "Gee, okay, yep, this is happening."
Yep. And then like afterwards, Sawtooth comes around and is like, "Well, that was fucking ridiculous, mate." Like, kid like turns off the stage accent.
Much appreciated, though.
Cool. So Sawtooth needs to roll. Needs to roll for that, don't they?
Yeah, and thanks to the Surgeon General, we only get 1 die for recovery rolls.
All right. Let's. Do you want to roll a fortune roll with 1d6? With 1 dice, Jeff.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that need to die for very
Yeah.
mechanical reasons right now.
Yeah.
But I do like that this is set up because, damn.
There you go.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
All right. On a 6, you
3 pips.
3 pips on. So there's a little clock, little
Yep.
wheel. Fill in 3 spaces on that.
Cool.
So you're starting to heal. It's not healed yet. It's still gonna be fucking you up.
Okay.
If anyone wanted to do an extra downtime, they could spend a coin to do so. But in the meantime, we're coming up on an hour. So how about we take our first break, and we can come back for doing a score.
Marvelous.
All right.
Awesome.
Back in a bit, chat.